Musicians Talk Show is brought to you by Bandzoogle. Bandzoogle makes it easy to build a stunning website for your music in minutes. Choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes, then customize your design and content in a few clicks with Bandzoogle's easy visual editor. All the features you need for a professional website are already built in, including tools to sell your music and merch commission-free right on your website, mailing list tools to grow your fan list and send newsletters, integrations to pull in content from all your online services like Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and live support from their musician-friendly team 7 days a week. Bandzoogle plans start at just $8.29 a month and include your own free custom domain name. So go to bandzoogle.com to try it free for 30 days, and be sure to use the promo code TMTS to get 15% off your first year of your subscription. Okay, before we get started, Matt and I have lots of great ideas to improve the podcast, but we can't do it without you. So if you want to help us grow, click support the show at musicianstalkshow.com and consider signing up for our Patreon. We have tons of great perks and rewards for you, such as early guest reveals, a weekly live Q&A, and access to a monthly exclusive episode only for our patrons.
Sign up for our mailing list on our website to gain access to our private community on Discord. There you can communicate with Dallas and I directly about all things TMTS. You can also follow at Musicians Talk Show on Instagram to discover new episodes, vote in polls, and join the conversation.
Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Musicians Talk Show podcast. This is episode 60. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Dallas DeWhite.
And I'm Matt Totley.
And we have another guest for you guys this week. Who is it, Matt?
Kevin Roentgen.
Kevin Roentgen. We're super stoked. It's funny, actually. We've been trying to get this guy on the podcast for how long?
I don't know, months.
Over a year. It's been over a year, I think.
Years are made of months.
Years are months.
I was right.
So many months. You were kind of right. So anyway, we talk about all sorts of good stuff. He's on tour with Buck Cherry. That comes up, of course.
We talk about his old projects, American Pearl, and other things that he's been a part of.
And upcoming things that he will continue to be a part of, like Soul, which was a band he was in before American Pearl, but is now going to continue being in moving forward. So lots of cool stuff going on for a real working musician, and can't wait for you guys to hear his perspective. Here's Kevin.
Check it out.
The first thing I ask pretty much everybody is, how'd you get started in music?
In music, like playing music.
Sure, basically. Playing music, listening to music,
wherever you consider the start, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I started playing. My story's not too much different than everybody else that's doing it. I started playing when I was a kid. Took guitar lessons and kind of hated it, and then when I started to buy my own records at around 10, 11 years old, I started getting some Kiss records and like a Van Halen record for Christmas and stuff like that. And a guitar. I sort of, that's when I got excited about learning to play things on a guitar, as opposed to like doing lessons when I was like 8 years old or something. So and I started to, I was pretty lucky because I had a couple of friends, the Seeley brothers, who were just like freakishly talented harmony singers, and I'd hang out with them a lot, like all summer long, and we'd sit around and they'd essentially teach me like Eagles songs and Beatles songs, and so I learned a lot about harmony early on, and singing. We'd listen to the Bee Gees, we do all kinds of stuff like that as kids, so and Kiss, of course. And, so that's kind of how I started. And we had a band when I was 12, and then I had.
What was your first band when you were 12?
Oh man, and this name is so good. Someone else took it, but the band was called Black Taxi.
Ooh, I like that.
That is good. That's surprisingly good for 12-year-olds.
Yeah. And we did a talent show. We played Smoke on the Water and Taking Care of Business.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's cool.
The big two.
Yeah, Taking Care of Business is a good one. Though. What's the band?
That's PTO, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
PTO, yeah.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
That's right. Awesome, man. So who were some of those later guitarist influences as you started kind of progressing on the instrument and looking to kind of expand your horizons a little bit? Who were those people that kind of blew the gates open? For me, it was Paul Gilbert.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you're friends with, I got hooked up through Kelly to you guys, right?
Kelly's a good buddy. And Stevie was on the show at one time or another, but we haven't had him on in a while.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because
we love Kelly. He was the first interview we had on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, and he's got that history with Paul and stuff.
Yeah, that's actually how I first met him. Was when we were at the first Great Guitar Escape in 2012, and he was
sweet.
He was playing at that with Paul.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like when I think of I guess as far as playing guitar, I got really excited about Jimmy Page, Joe Perry, and then later finding out that Brad Whitford was actually playing just as many, if not more, of the cool leads,
Right.
And guys like that, and then a little bit later, Angus Young. I think I went through a couple years when I had my first kind of real band playing out in the LA clubs. Then all we did was listen to AC/DC. This is probably around the same time GNR had just got signed, around that time. So with those guys, and then, for me, Ace Frehley is just like those. He's up there at the top for me, just because those leads are so memorable, and I mean, you can sing every one of them, and there's kind of a Page, Beck, Hendrix quality to it all, even though it's done in Ace's kind of sloppier,
Sure.
New York style,
Sure. I even hear like little bits of like Van Halen and stuff like that, but he's obviously he's still Ace Frehley, but I just hear I can hear it all in the influences and whatnot. Their music so got so much time, as Kiss, you know what I mean? Like so much time they went over, and music came and went,
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, as far as guitar players, that's kind of, and and also like later on, I started to really appreciate Lindsey Buckingham. I just think he's amazing. As far as a guitar player, but my thing was like I was just excited about singing, as excited about singing when I was a kid. So like a lot of my bands, I don't know if you know like my history of bands, but American
Pearl is one of my favorite bands of all time, dude. Seriously, that record is so fucking awesome, front to back. I love it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I've actually covered Truth and stuff like that at bars. I love just me and my friend Kyle. We love it, dude.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah,
thanks,
dude.
man.
No problem. Is that the band you were talking about? Your first LA scene band, or was there one before that in LA?
No, I'm talking about when I was like 18 or something. Okay. I had a band. We were called Shell Shock. We were just trying to sound like, like Bon Scott era AC/DC, basically. And
is there anything out there I can check out like that? Is that out still?
That early stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff, actually somebody put that out. There's this small label that put it out. I can send you a link. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Send the link.
Yeah, we'd love to see that.
It was a little bit retarded, but we were trying our best, Like,
hey man, that's what it always feels like. We're just all out here trying, and you look back on stuff and you're like, well, sometimes you're like, that's not bad. We're doing all right, but
other times it's kind of a face palm.
Totally.
But, you got to give yourself credit.
Yeah, and it's your own perspective too. So it's like, looking back at yourself is always tough for me too.
Yeah, American Pearl happened later, and that kind of ties me back to part of my connection to Buck Cherry. Is like, when American Pearl started, I did the band with this guy, Kevin Quinn, who was the other guitar player, and he's the tattoo artist. He tattooed, I think he's done like almost every tattoo on Josh, and he was tattooing Keith back in the day when they basically formed that band in his shop,
Okay, cool.
And so we were all kind of coming up together. They got their deal, and we followed with American Pearl. Like 2 years later, we got our deal,
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's a really cool
cover of the album
story.
Yeah, the cover of the album has, whose chest is that, or stomach, or is that the?
Oh, that was me. We took a bunch of pictures with our clothes off.
Right on. So no, that's a cool cover, man. It has the attitude of the record, It's cool.
So what were some of those practice routines or band rehearsals or any of those things that kind of got you to what's the word I'm looking for? Ship shape. What got you ready to play out?
You mean like kind of as a kid before?
Yeah, anything as far as like coming up, just kind of getting better at the instrument and getting better as a player.
I think really like all that time you spend in garages, and trying to actually put in a little extra time to learn, like, how did Jimmy Page really play that, or how, and I think just like if you have that level of commitment to putting the time into rehearsing, you know, as a band, or I think I probably learned more being in a room with a drummer than sitting there listening to, you know, trying to listen to an album and learn how to play, you know. I think, and then, you know, hanging out with other guitar players that are better than you know, like which is what I do all day long, because I'm like I'm you know, like Stevie's a real lead guitar player. I mean, I did a lot of the lead work on that American Pearl record, and I had a band called Goldsboro. I was the only guitar player in that, but I think I'm probably more of a unconventional, you know, lead guy. I'm not, you know, whatever. I'm not one of those guys like Paul Gilbert or something, obviously, you know?
Yeah. I feel like you have a really good sense for what the song needs. You know what I mean? Like your soloing on American Pearl, for instance, is very like in tune with the songs and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be, there's a lot of credit there. You know what I mean? You should give yourself some credit, because you definitely have a songwriter's mentality. Like you can hear it, you know?
Well, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm coming from with guitar after all. Yeah.
That actually leads perfectly into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is songwriting. I mean, what's your process like for writing a song, writing an album?
I mean, like, you know, I'm in my head, I'm thinking about the different, you know, like that American Pearl record, for instance. I pretty much sat down with, at the time, this is like in 99 or something, and none of us were running Pro Tools or anything at that time.
Right.
So I had this 8-track cassette thing, like a Tascam 8-track cassette. And, I was told it was the same one that like Bruce Springsteen recorded Nebraska on, you know. It's like,
right.
It's sort of state of the art for that era. And I sort of just laid down a bunch of parts, and I, you know, and I would sing. I guess just to back up, I guess I'll usually come up with some chords and some chord progression, and I'll put a melody to it. I think that'll usually come before lyrics, you know.
Right.
If we're talking about, you know, that part of what I do, you know.
Right.
In Buck Cherry, you know, Josh writes his own lyrics, obviously, and everything. So, but yeah, that's. I mean, I think my process is just picking up a guitar, and I mean, these days I'll do stuff. I have a home studio.
Okay.
And I'll, you know, and I run Pro Tools, and I've been working out of there for, you know, the last 10 years doing whatever, my own bands or other things, you know. Right.
And that's super helpful, man, to just have Pro Tools and write a song with that. Get the ideas down, like build on it, you know, scrap it, try something else, you know, like that's a huge bonus for songwriting. And the Tascam thing was probably a great tool back, you know, in the 99, but you know, Pro Tools, like, or any DAW that's a professional, you know, DAW is a great way to write songs, obviously.
So fast.
Yeah. Sure.
You know?
Is Motherless Bastards, is that you writing all the lyrics and stuff like that? What's the deal with that one?
That we're just kind of putting that out there. That's what that is it's me and a composer friend of mine. You know, about 10 years ago or something. I don't know if you know this history of that. I was in a band called Orson, and we were over in the UK for a couple of years and had some success and everything. Okay, so when I moved back to America from that, I was kind of like, the band was done, and I reconnected with some friends in that production music world. So I started to, you know, I was just trying to hustle and write like library cues for TV and all that. So that's when I started to get my chops on Pro Tools or whatever. So anyways, along that road of I ended up composing a bunch of spots for Fox TV for a lot of their primetime shows, like just the promos, you know. And I ended up kind of reconnecting with this guy Evan Frankfurt that had actually mixed the Orson album that we had the success with. and he's just one of these score guys. I mean, he scored, series, sci-fi series for TV, and he's done movie trailers. And so we recently got together like last year and said, let's just do something together, and sort of put it out there as a band. It's essentially, the songs that we're putting out, I think a couple of them were ones that I completely came up with and sang, and he'd give me a bridge to sing, and then I'll just sort of send him what I do, and he's just the master producer guy, so he'll put it all together. And so it's sort of geared at that that epic trailer world, that he's had some success in, and so it's just that's speaking of Pro Tools and everything. That's the amazing part, is like I can do stuff from the road and send it over to him, and
totally,
be just almost as productive as being at home.
Yeah. So nice being able to still get work done no matter where you're at. Like technology has blessed us with that.
There's a lot of downtime when you're on the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
awesome that you're taking advantage of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I have, I've always sort of had projects going. I mean, when the Buck Cherry thing came up, I just moved to Nashville, and I was still doing some of the TV stuff. But it was slowing down. I think I was maybe out of sight, out of mind. I wasn't in LA anymore, and LA is a real, like, you gotta really, you gotta be face to face with people. And so I started feeling the reality of not being there. And I started working on my own music, sort of singer-songwriter approach, and then all of a sudden, Stevie and I, who, we've been friends for, 20, 25 years or something at this point. And he was saying, hey, we're, a couple of the guys left the band, and your name came up. Josh was like, what, Josh would just call me Roentgen, speaking of how you pronounce my name, it's like, what's Roentgen doing, and think, so we started talking about the idea of me playing with these guys. And so I guess I'm jumping around here, but that was I was in the process of trying to do some of that stuff with Evan that was going to be Motherless Bastards.
Okay.
And then I started playing with Buck Cherry, and so we're doing that too. And I'm doing several things. I have my old band Soul, that was kind of we were a bit of a thing in the early 90s in the LA scene, like when I first met these guys, and like Josh and Stevie will tell you, they were soul groupies,
cool.
This band we had in the early 90s. So I'm working on a record with those guys too, and just trying to do whatever I can,
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah, we love the Motherless Bastard stuff we've heard so far, and I also really love the album art.
Yeah,
who did that?
Oh yeah, thanks, man. That's pretty kick-ass. There's a guy, Chris G, that he did. I had a band called Goldsboro just before I started playing with Buck Cherry, and he was doing all our stuff. He's a friend from back in the day. Guy that was in Hollywood bands in the late 80s and stuff, and then he became this amazing graphics guy, and he designs movie posters and everything. So he's super legit, and when he has downtime, I'll beg him to do some artwork for me.
Nice, and that's perfect for the theme of the albums too. So
it paid off. I really dig the
right.
art. That really just jumped out at me more than any other art I've seen recently, for sure. Yeah,
he's really good. I mean, he would design flyers for Goldsboro shows, and they looked like they just looked like. I mean, I don't know. Like if we had been a big band, I would have sold those shows. They're so good. But yeah,
totally.
So you are someone who has definitely gone through the ringer as far as touring goes. What are some tips or pointers you have for people who are maybe first time on the road, or newer to this game, about how to kind of navigate that world?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, this is like, like Josh says every night on these shows, it's like, he's like 20 years in the game, and it's weird to hear that, because it's true. We've all been on and off the road, for that long. So, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like, if you're in your 20s, just and you're doing it, like, I mean, tear it up, enjoy it, and like, I don't know, and take care of yourself while you're out there. I don't know. I guess I don't really have like some advice for someone just going out there, except I don't know, call your parents.
Yeah, totally. Take care of yourself is a good one though, man, because I think people get carried away with the fun it is to be on tour, and then they go a little hard and end up making some mistakes along the way, which, that's fine. People recover from mistakes, but I think if you have it in your mind that you need to take care of yourself while you're out there, that's important. Calling your parents is a good one too. They'll ground you. They'll bring you right down to where you are.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's also important. You're going to meet a lot of people. Whether they're someone that's maybe going to play you on the radio, or like you guys is going to do an interview or whatever. And I just think like I see guys, and I've been in bands with guys that will sort of disrespect those situations, and I think that's a big mistake. I just think like I think that stuff. Those kind of relationships can go a long way. And I mean, there's people that I still am, friends with that were, maybe they were the radio promo guy for one of my old bands or something. And this, as it goes along here, it seems like the world gets smaller and smaller, and all us like survivors that have been doing this for this long, everybody, you end up knowing everybody. So, or what's that whole thing? Same people on the way up as you see coming down. Right. There's all that. So
it's important to respect everybody along the way. I agree, because you never know what that person could be for you later, or and just try and be a good person, so that way you're putting out good stuff, good energy all on the way too. Yeah. I agree. That's cool. Good advice.
It can be tough though, because there's so much bullshit.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, to navigate through, and like you just have to always keep that level head, even when it's starting to get to you.
Yeah.
I think that's where the take care of yourself stuff. Like we do meet and greets every night, and these people have paid money to spend 10 minutes with you and take pictures and chat, and like you do that, but at the same time. I mean, this is like simple stuff, but like, go straight and wash your hands immediately afterwards.
Right.
You gotta sing later, or you gotta sing tomorrow, or whatever.
Right. You don't want to get sick, and good point.
Yeah. Wash up to the elbow.
There you go. Yeah.
Totally.
So you talked a little bit about how you got into Buckcherry, and you guys just recently put out the new album, right?
Yeah, it just dropped March 8th, I guess it was.
Ago or something.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that recording process? You were on that album, correct?
Yes. That was, I mean, for the most part, that record was, we had some of the songs were surfacing over the summer when we were out on the Gen X tour. Last summer, we were out with POD and Lit and Alien Ant Farm, and we'd play some of those songs at Soundcheck, and I think that's where we started to see what they'd really be like playing as a band, because Josh and Stevie were working on that stuff for the most part, and I think it was also Stevie's first opportunity to jump in as a main songwriter for the band. Because that wasn't really his role previous to this record.
Right.
We were just sort of we'd be sending ideas to the guys as well. I think part of it is, those guys were in LA together, so they could get together every day and make demos and everything. But I was happy to have a couple songs that were that I contributed to, and I mean, when we got into the studio, it all went really fast. I think there was a lot of sorting through 30 plus ideas of songs before coming down to like the what is there, 11 on the record? I can't remember, but yeah.
Right. So you had more ideas than necessary, and then cut it down from there.
Yeah. And
That seems like the best way to do it, you know.
Cream
Trim the
crop.
fat, get the best you
get
can,
the cream
you know?
from, definitely.
right. And then we went in with Mike Plotnikoff, who had done the 15 record.
Right.
Which
Amazing
was,
record,
the band's,
obviously. Yep.
Yeah, the band's most successful record. And I think, I think that Stevie and Josh always felt like they should have just stayed with Mike along the way. And for whatever reasons within the band, they didn't do that. So they were happy to get back to him and this real sort of direct, simple approach.
Right.
And Mike's really tuned into, I don't know. He Buck Cherry wasn't trying to make like specifically an active rock radio record, but Mike's done a lot of that kind of stuff, and I think they felt like, it's gonna be contemporary and not sound like something from the past or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Yeah.
So were you guys? Do you guys just track live as a group, or?
We tracked. I think we were playing along with when we tracked drums. I think we were basically playing along.
Right.
But no, it was we pretty much isolated and did like a traditional. We didn't get it just in the room and jam or anything. We got the drum tracks to where they were solid and
what kind of guitar amp were you playing through on your tracks? Do you have a specific amp you go to for recording, or do you use what?
Well, Mike and his engineer, this guy named Hutch, this Japanese guy he's just crazy when it comes to getting amp tones.
Yeah.
They had this whole wall of stuff. I mean, and I'm gonna like forget what they all were because I'm not like the gearhead in the band.
Right.
There was, I think there was an orange rock reverb. Which is something I use, most of the time live.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Plexi, Marshall Plexi. There was, I think a JMP, probably a JCM 800.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of, I want to say there was a Soldano or something there.
Nice.
There was some modern amps there. So and they just kind of blend them.
Sure.
For certain parts, for leads or whatever.
Nice. So you're using a bunch of different stuff.
We were, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Now, this might seem like a small question, but are all the leads on the album Stevie, or did you get some, or did you split them, or how did that work?
Yeah, no, all the leads. Stevie took the leads. Yeah, I don't think. Oh, I did play. I played some lead stuff on Devil in the Details. I believe. Yeah. Which was one of the songs that I co-wrote with those guys.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are some tips you could give us as far as like to prepare for the studio, to go in there and try to, or how do I say it?
Be ready.
Be assured that you're going to perform your best,
Yeah, I think just be ready, like know the songs.
That'll come up.
Yeah, that'll that's definitely gonna come up.
There will be a quiz.
that old adage, you should know your song, like you could be able to play with your eyes closed or half asleep or whatever that is. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can. It's in this day, it's like it's really easy to you can be lazy and still make a record. And,
right.
And fix a lot of things along the way. I'm old school. I think everybody is all about getting performances and having tracks that have moments that feel like they weren't generated later. They were something that a human just did.
They have that vibe. Yeah.
So having done all these library cues and licensing stuff, and also done all this touring and playing live, do you prefer the studio or the stage, or both, or what?
I mean, I love both. I love playing. Touring's. I think touring gets challenging. When you start to have a family and stuff.
Right.
3 of us have me, Stevie, and Josh. We all have a lady at home and kids, and like I have a 10-year-old daughter, and so it gets. I love playing, and it's kind of the livelihood of any band these days is getting out and playing, because as we all know, people aren't really.
Yeah, records aren't selling as like they used to.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's unless you like own your own label or whatever, and you're doing really, really well.
You got to make your money on the road. You got to get out there and do something. Yeah.
So it's a job, and then but then you learn that hey, it's a lot of parents travel for work, and you're not like the only freak that's on the road, trying to raise a family, but where am I going off the question here? What was the question?
So it was a studio versus live playing. But, definitely appreciation for both probably helps to be able to, get a break from the leaving home and being away from home so long, being, come in the studio and,
Yeah.
I think those of us that are well versed in both have a distinct advantage because we can make that money when we're at home.
Right.
Right. Without leaving the house, you can
your own home studio,
get a license, do your thing, or however else you make money in the studio.
Sure.
But you kind of have more streams of revenue.
Yeah, I mean, and I bring my MacBook out here, and I can open up a Pro Tools session, and I was just doing that earlier in this hotel room over here. Actually, I was sending the drummer in my other project, Soul. I was sending him a track to do. So I mean, and I think about. I'm out here looking at tape op online and stuff like that, and trying to think about what I can do to my studio when I get home. I think it's just, maybe it's the grass is always greener,
Yeah, totally. I think that's absolutely
the
case. Because I find whenever I'm out playing, I long for the studio, and whenever I'm in the studio, I long for the stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good to be able to do both, and to have your own home studio and be able to go home and live with your family and still work on your music, and also go on the road and, play some shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys do lots of fly gigs too at Buckcherry now, right? That's pretty much the way you guys handle, other than big tours.
Or they were doing that for a while, I think, right?
Yeah, we talked to Kelly. He was talking about fly gigs. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year before the record came out, we were doing a lot of fly dates, because it's just sort of a way to go and swoop up in an area and then go home. We're literally on the road with this one. I mean, we started off in the UK in February, and we lived in a bus for 3-4 weeks out there in Europe, and then we came home for like a week, and then we hit the road here and in a bus. So but we'll do fly dates if we have to fly over to Arizona in like a week or whatever and come back. So.
Okay, cool.
So when you guys do fly dates, are you backlining amps, or are you flying with like a Kemper Axe-Fx kind of thing, or?
Yeah, no, we're backlining, and most of the time it's I've been playing the Orange stuff, and Stevie started playing it too, and we'll try and get that stuff where it's available, or they'll have some Marshalls if not, and but they'll be backline.
Are you bringing any kind of like pedal board or anything?
Yeah. We usually bring our pedals along. I mean, my pedal board's pretty, simple. It's, I got like Crybaby and a Phase 90 and, the Tube Screamer, EQ pedal.
Sure. And with those, you can, and if you're backlining an amp with your pedals, you can kind of like dial in your tone more to like, if it's not the amp you prefer or whatever.
You can. Yeah,
stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, if it's something that's maybe doesn't have enough gain or whatever, which for me, I think I have more of like a rhythm, position. So I'm I'm not. Stevie's got more of a bite. I try to, if I hear Stevie, really gaining it up, I'll kind of do the opposite, because I like the balance. I don't. I think competing gains are not really something that's pleasing.
Right, more complimentary than trying to compete. Yeah,
that gets rough.
Yeah,
especially
and
when,
it's a rocket.
Your face is right in those 412s, standing on the ground at the stage. You're just getting blasted with high end.
Absolutely, yeah.
Every time the pick hits the strings, your ears are just like,
yeah. No, that's cool. You definitely are the right person for Buck Cherry, man. It's really awesome to see you out there with them now.
Yeah, we were super stoked to see that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
We followed Buck Cherry for a while and you for a while. So it was pretty cool to see that kind of come together.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you mentioned like American Pearl and everything. This is that Buck Cherry fan base. Like, I'll have a bunch of people coming up to me and bringing some old poster from American Pearl or a CD or, you know, a lot of those fans were also at those American Pearl shows. And, you know, Stevie played an American Pearl actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. For like, we went through a change and Stevie stepped in for Quinn, and played for like the last year we were together. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So do you like seeing that? Is it cool seeing the fans come out with like old merch and stuff like that and talk to you about their experience?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I had this guy, and I think it was Ohio, and someone's like, "This guy needs to meet you," and he's almost crying. and I'm like,
it was me.
Okay.
That was me. Yeah, sorry.
Was that you?
No, it wasn't me, but
that was you.
It might be one day.
I mean, yeah, and he came up to me and. You know, it was actually a little scary because I was like, this guy's like really emotional and I don't know what's going on.
That's fine.
But it was, he was just so thankful, you know, that we put that record out and he just wanted me to sign some stuff and, you know, shook my hand really, really hard. And,
and then you gently reminded him that he should have a healthier relationship with music.
Yeah. But I mean, I mean, you know, obviously feels good when it affects someone that way.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Is American Pearl something we will ever hear more of again?
You know, I can't see that happening really.
Sound like you're busy. You've got a few projects on hand already.
Yeah. And you know, really like, I think if anybody liked American Pearl, you know, we're going to end up putting out some of these soul songs, and you know, this year. And you know, I formed American Pearl kind of in the ashes of soul, which is a whole crazy Hollywood story with that band, where you know, one guy passed away, another guy went to prison, and it was this really kind of heavy story, and we actually started working on a documentary for it, which maybe we'll finish. But and so American Pearl is sort of was a continuation for me of that style. I think it
so
probably
is the new soul then reminiscent of that of American Pearl, like a continuation of that? Is what you're saying?
I mean, I think what, like, without sounding sounding weird, I think like. And Stevie's helping me with it too, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Because he's been playing guitar on it.
Killer.
I think he would say that, you know, if I'm singing on it, it's going to be, you know, it's going to sound like soul or American Pearl or whatever. Right. So I think in the same way that, that, you know, if Josh is singing on it, it's, you know, it's Buck Cherry.
Right.
You know?
So for sure.
That's interesting, isn't it? Like the tonal quality and vocals will tend to steer a whole sound, you know, and it's really like a focal point when people hear music and they associate, you know, with it, you know. It's pretty incredible.
I think, you know, I mean, I was, you know, I'm a really big Soundgarden fan.
Yeah.
When you know, when Chris Cornell started putting out the solo records, I was thinking, well, this could be a Soundgarden record, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So during the Buck Cherry shows, do you do any singing really? Do you get a time to kind of like pull lead singer duties even for just a song or something?
Not lead, but, you know, no, but I mean, Stevie and I mean, Buck Cherry's kind of like having 4 lead singers, because everybody has at one time or another sang you know, for a band.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'd say like in Buck Cherry, it might be the strongest backing vocals you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And, totally. I'm not even just trying to, you know, brag about that, but it's true, because Stevie is an amazing singer. He's fronted bands and sang. Kelly has a big old voice. He could sound like Lemmy, or he's got a big voice.
Right.
I've sang a lot, and, so yeah. So it's kind of fun to when all four of us are on the mic.
Everybody
it's pretty
has
full.
Yeah, everybody has the potential to be a lead singer, So then when you back everything with that, it's definitely got to be more powerful. I totally get that. That's cool.
It sounds like to me what you're saying is you guys are basically the Backstreet Boys.
That's
Backstreet
what I was.
Boys with guitars.
I was trying not to say that, but
You're tiptoeing around it. I could tell.
Yeah.
So
I heard they're back, by the way.
You what?
The Backstreet Boys, I heard they're back.
I don't think they ever went away.
Oh, they got that song. They came back from somewhere, dude.
Yeah, I think they're on a Taco Bell commercial, I think.
They're back. That means they're back.
So, with all these things you have going on, how do you manage your time? How do you keep everything straight with family life and then all the music things?
I don't know. It's like, I really don't. I just try to do the next thing, that's in front of me.
Do you utilize any digital calendars? Now these smartphones all have these awesome calendars and several different calendar apps. And we at the Musicians Talk Show, we're both in a band. We both have other stuff too, so we keep calendars and stuff like that. Do you find yourself doing that?
Oh no, yeah, I definitely use my calendars. Yeah, it's well, God, and I should apologize, because we were, I was so busy when we were trying to do this the first and second time. And, obviously it's whatever's going on. Right now I'm on the road with Buck Cherry, so I'll bring my MacBook along, and when I have 3 hours between, sound check and meet and greet or whatever, I'm going to work on something usually. Or FaceTime with my kid and my wife, and you get in a certain routine out here where that's how it goes, and trying to stay busy or just go for a walk, whatever out here. But if you're in a good place, but
just getting it in when you can, probably. I guess is the mindset there, just while you're out there and you got time.
There's a real art. There's a real art to managing time, and I don't know. I'm trying.
That's the artist
trying to figure that.
Yeah,
I've been trying to figure that out for a long time.
That's something artists have trouble with for sure.
Sure. So Kevin, we have. It sounds like we have a lot to expect from Soul. We have a lot to expect from Motherless Bastards and Buck Cherry as well. What can we expect in the future from these projects?
Buck Cherry is going to be out here supporting Warpaint through into 2020. We're playing on festivals this summer. We're pretty much out all year. We're going back to the UK. We're doing Japan and Australia later in the year. Nice. And I've never been to Australia, because that's a new thing for me.
That'd
so that's
really
kind of cool.
Yeah, me neither. That's cool.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and meanwhile, I'll probably be dropping some of these Soul songs as we go, and we'll do some videos, whether they're lyric videos or we'll probably get together and do something. Sort of release a song at a time over some time, and same with the Motherless Bastard stuff. And
awesome. So lots to look forward to from you. That's really cool. Glad you're staying busy, man.
Yeah, me too. And it's a nice outlet for me, because I love singing, as well, and I also I love playing the Buck Cherry. It's an easy hang. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've known these guys, like I said, we've all known each other since the early 90s, and we've had these sort of parallel paths playing, so
it was a good, easy fit for you, for sure, man. It makes sense. I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome, man. Where can our listeners find you? Social media, website, etc.
I think I'm on pretty much on Instagram every day, and that's probably the easiest way. You can message me there.
What's your handle on Instagram? Your username?
It's just at Kevin Roentgen.
Perfect.
Ooh,
Yeah,
you got it. You got the real one.
Yeah,
It's not like Kevin Roentgen.
You didn't have to buy it, did you? I hate it when people have to buy their own name or something like that because somebody else got it already, and just so they.
That's not fun.
No, it sucks.
yeah. I don't know who'd be trying to get at Kevin Roentgen, but
Somebody who knew that you'd want it. That's the only reason they,
That's not a bad
yeah.
point.
That's what they do, man. They take them just so they have you by the balls, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Virtually.
Virtually by the balls.
Awesome, man.
yeah,
Kevin,
that's
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no. I'm just yeah. That's probably the
Instagram's
that's
the best
probably
way.
the Facebook and all that stuff too, I guess. But yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Instagram's good.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we use now too.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't used Facebook in a long time, so
Instagram's become so streamlined. I feel like it's such a easy way to stay in touch with everybody. Facebook's a little too wordy and I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
since
a big of a fan.
you have to do a lot of deflecting of of information and things that you don't really want to see and
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, every 2 seconds it's asking me for my phone number. It's like, dude, get out of here. Like,
Totally.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
Right.
Anyway, man, again, thanks so much for taking some time. I know you only have a few free hours between, all the things you have going on. So we appreciate you spending some of that time with us.
Oh yeah, no, thanks, and I'm glad we finally got to connect. I appreciate you being you're holding out for me. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, for
Absolutely,
the
man.
listeners, we've been trying to get Kevin on the show for at least 6 months. I think maybe
Yeah.
even closer to a year.
Yeah, just schedules. We were close a few times. It's hard. It's totally,
Stoked to finally have you on, man.
Yeah,
It's
and we'll have
super
you on
awesome.
again, man. I mean, maybe after some more of this stuff comes out, we want to talk about some of it, man. Maybe we'll have you on again
Yeah.
if you're down.
Yeah, I'm always happy to. Yes.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
happy to
man.
help you promote whatever you want to promote. Well, Kevin, thanks again. We really appreciate it. Is there anything you want to add before we wrap up here?
No, just come out to the Warpaint tour, and say hello, and and if you're one of those people that caught me back in the day with American Pearl or whatever, really, just always sort of happy to meet anybody that's that enjoyed that stuff too,
Awesome.
So it's great.
Dude, it's awesome talking to you. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks, Matt Dallas.
Awesome.
Sweet.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.